So yeah, just check your mates. It seems like these hot plates maybe need to be mated with their, it would be the front plane. I didn't catch that in my notes initially. I mainly looked at this file. Um, and let's see if I go over. Yeah, so you were one of the people where I wrote the note of just like combining fillets. So just being aware that, if it's to the same body. And honestly, some of the stuff, like, I guess you kind of did it already. Okay, no, that never mind. That makes sense.
Some of the fillets I just had to do one by one because I was trying to select two different faces and it wouldn't do it. So I just to avoid
Oh,
any, to avoid
oh,
any
you did a
any.
face fillet. I missed that. Okay. Yeah, ideally, was it not working with a regular fillet?
No, because I don't know. I just found it to be easier just like that because I wanted to match the rest of the body
Got it. So really
when I did the face fillet. Yeah.
I see. Okay. So based on that, then specifically, it would make sense to. I forgot to restart the timer. It would make sense to. Let's see. So you started here. This is good. So instead of these cuts being like that, cut makes sense to me. But for these ones, I see though. This one you had to come up higher. Okay. Like one thing you could do if you want to match this exactly, then would be to create a
Mm-hmm.
sketch on the top plane, copy this sketch over. So I'm selecting the first boss extrude. And now I'm making a R for rectangle that's bigger and then doing an extrude cut. So now it's based off the exact same sketch. And now I'm only going to select the two pieces that you want to match in the feature scope. So it's only going to cut those two bodies. And again, that's not, you're not losing points on this. This is all just like me trying to help you in SolidWorks, like get to your goal quicker. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I mean, going by fillets is fine. I would encourage though edge fillets over face fillets where possible. Face fillets are good if like it won't resolve. Um, but you should be able to match these also with an edge fillet. If you know this value in the sketch, it looks like it's 0.9. Um, Other feedback I had, but yeah, again, that's not a points thing. I did make a comment on modeling in half for you. So just in, I sometimes the feedback is like do this, not necessarily how to do this, but it would possibly mean, and again, it's up to you to determine whether it's you want to invest that time. It's worth 0.6 points. It would look something like this. I would save a copy of the file. Um, oh, that actually rebuilt really well. I didn't necessarily expect that, but starting here and then putting in, let's see, where would it make sense to put in a reflection? Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Um, then the last comment that I have is again, everything was pretty good. Again, this the main thing is just like when I see a lot of fillets, sometimes like I wonder. Um, the last comment I have is just to the handle. I think I'm assuming you did this body discoloration for rendering. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's okay for this project, but moving forward, try to avoid doing that. It won't look as real if you don't have a part line between materials, if that makes sense. So it's like
Okay.
it is a good trick. It is a good workaround. I totally do it all the time as well. The face thing. But in general, like for realism, if you're having two different materials, it's better to have them separated by something like this.
Okay.
And actually, now that
Yeah,
I'm
I did it just so when I exported to Keyshot, it was easier for Keyshot to know that that will be two different materials.
got it. I mean, typically, I guess what I'm saying, I'm nitpicking is like this material being different than this one, right?
Oh, okay. So then I will just do another cut, right?
If you wanted this to be all, the better way to change this color, if you're trying to get this front and this back to be different, would be to apply it to, so I'm actually going to just remove the material, is edit this and do it to the body. So sorry, that was really quick. Right click on this, material, and then select body, not face. And now if you select this like light blue, it'll be to the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just noticing this now. I would put a fillet on here and double check this here. This hanging edge is happening because this cut, you need to just extend it. You just need to grab this point and drag it down. And that should get rid of that extra tab in there.
Okay.
Okay, nice work. Unfortunately, we're out of time. But again, email me your questions, or I will hang out after class to answer questions.
Okay. Yep, that's good. Thank you.
Cody, you're up next. Yep, happy to help.
Okay, I'm here.
I think, yeah. And then Xavier, you're after Cody, so it'll be your turn in about 5 minutes. So Cody, for you, did you want to talk about a question, or did you just want general feedback?
Just general feedback, and then maybe if we have time, I have like one question.
Okay. Now I did have a note. I should have emailed you, and I apologize. From last class, you had asked about the loft of the slide, and the slide file was missing. So I wasn't able to, or maybe there was no slide in this. So I wasn't able to look at that. But yeah, for you, I'm trying to interpret my notes here. I have something that says MS handle. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, master sketch. You don't have a master sketch in your handle. Also for you, your handle is not a logical sweep because this could be extruded up and down. So the simplest fix for you would be to just, I realize this is not maybe purely Dieter Rams, but I think you could make an argument that like having slight curvature to the back would make it more comfortable to grip. So I think just adding just even the slightest curve on the back here. And again, I realize I have like convoluted rules, but I want you all to understand when it makes sense to use a sweep and when it doesn't. And right now this handle makes sense to be extruded as you had it initially. So does that feedback make sense?
Yep.
Without this addition, I would subtract points on the logical part of this sweep. And then, yeah, I mean, you would lose points for not having a master sketch. Go back and look at the demo. I mean, basically like this could be part of the master sketch. The good news is it's a relatively simple file to update that. The next feedback I had, and again, generally everything was good on yours, I think. I have a comment that says plane 5 is not necessary. Okay, so did you understand that feedback when I was talking to the whole class? Again, I don't think you were the only person that did this.
Yeah, I understand to link that to a master sketch to keep the plane mobile and if you adjust master.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, or you can sketch directly on the face. Like I'm assuming I don't know what plane 5 was used for. Cut extrude 4 is where it was used first, I think it seems like.
Yeah, I got that. I just didn't know you could sketch on face, so I'll make sure to do that.
Cool. And yeah, some of these things, like, it's like things I forget to say, and it's very possible. And that's why I like doing this, because we catch things. Okay, yeah, I think that's all I had. So let me just double check the assembly one last time. But then we would have roughly a minute left for your question. Let me just drag on things. Yeah, you are good. Okay, yeah, what question do you have?
Okay, so in that square extruded cut there, I had another part that I added for another part file for glass or like a clear piece. that I had put in there. Is it for that? And then also in my other designs, I have like a metal bracket that is attached to the body where the kind of like, it's just like a metal bracket. Those two parts, should they be in separate part files, or should they be a part of the master or the body part of the assembly?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say in for this project, there's really no one right answer to that. The short answer is I would have it in this griddle file. So if you had glass here, I would put it in here personally. I would create a sketch on this face. I mean, you could select a face and you can actually convert entities on a face angle and then just extrude something that's like 0.1 deep and just not merge it with anything, or even less, 0.04 or something, 0.05. That's the way I would do it. Is the shortest answer. The reason you would want it in a separate part file, if for some reason like you have a screen assembly that like an engineer gave you, or you're going into production, you might have that separate. But in this kind of like concept stage, I tend to put those things in the file.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool. All right. That's all we have time for. But yeah, otherwise, I think everything looked pretty good. So nice work. All right. Xavier, you are up next. Or you are up now, rather. And then after Xavier, if Jacob is in earshot, it'll be your turn in about 5 minutes. And am I still recording? I think everything's going. Seems like it's still going. Cool. All right. Thanks, Jacob. All right, great. I'm glad you're there, Jacob. Xavier, did you want me to go over a specific... did you have any specific questions for me, or do you want me to just give you general feedback?
I mean, general feedback. The one thing was, is my knob, does that work? Or should I make it like, can I make it like a tiny oval? Or like have it just be skewed a little bit so it kind of looks circular? Because the way I had it here, I feel like this represents the object the most. But then if I were to just like make it barely an oval, would that work? Or is that kind of like a workaround?
No, that's fine. If you make it a barely an oval, I'll grant it.
Okay.
Yeah, again, fully acknowledge it's convoluted, but I want you all to understand when it makes sense to use a loft and when it doesn't. So, I mean, again, the other option though would be like the early example I showed to be like an off-center circle is the other thing you could do.
Okay.
So like, let's see if I can even just do this in your master. If you break this off center, nope, they're both attached to each other. I wish there were an easier way to break. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, you can do it to a slight oval. If you just like, if you drag this circle up like that earlier example I showed, or you can go back and review it because it was recorded. That's one option. I'm glad you brought that up. I'll be honest, I didn't catch that. I probably would have though in grading. So, cool. Yeah, general feedback for you. Okay, with the handle, you were another person where I made a comment about the fillets being something that could be combined. So like this bottom fillet and this top fillet could probably be done in the same command. So just be aware of that. It's not, again, you're not losing points for it. It's just in general, like you can have a much shorter tree with those fillets. The next thing was, don't forget to merge. So this is mirrored, but like I see here you have 10 bodies, which is fine. Like body count's okay. But I'm noticing there's a seam here still. So just be aware that in the mirror command, whoops, if you check the merge results, and again, you're not losing points for this. This is just for your knowledge. It'll only merge the logical ones. So like this left piece will merge to this one. It won't merge front to back. So I would just check that box. And now you have like far less bodies, unless things to like go wrong, I guess, and also just better organized. For your main body, I don't think it was built in half, so you may want to do that.
No, it wasn't.
I realize, again, somewhat convoluted. For you, you would probably want to mirror it fairly high on your tree before you start adding like these details and stuff.
Mhm.
But again, it's all just like a habit thing. And then the last thing I have to show you was a question you had asked a long time ago about these. And what I did, I think it's in here, is I built.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was curious if you can like angle them a little bit.
Yep.
I think that I was going to ask you that.
Yep. And I think it looks better
Oh,
if you do. It
nice.
looks more real. And so the way that I
Yeah.
did that is with an extrude thin. So I think what I did in your file is I suppressed, I mean, I think we have the time for me to walk through the steps here. So I saw where you did this and I suppressed it. And then I just walked the tree back to this point and I selected one of these faces to create a sketch on it. And then I just, I click this normal 2 or alt N is typically what I do. And like, if you want to see the cavity, sometimes this is where I'll switch to like this view. And then I just L for line and create an angle that's like a louver. And then I just simply do an extrude thin. So I immediately load a thin command or an extrude command from here. And what I think I did is I said up to surface and I just select this face. Did that work? Oh, let's switch to this here. Oh, it doesn't like that. Oh, because I think I made this too long. Let's check and see if that works. Oh, it did work. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why that didn't give us a preview. But anyway, to that face, I don't want to merge result. And then here we can change the color at this point. So I'll select the body. I think you had it as a green. And then I load the linear pattern. The direction I can just like pick this back edge, or probably better practice would be to pick something in the master sketch because there's less chance that it'll break. And then here it always loads features, but we actually want to pattern the body. So I'll click this. And then here it's just a matter of playing with like spacing and like the number you want. And I do think it makes sense to angle it this way because I think you're rendering it from this vantage point. If you render it from this vantage point, you will start to see through it. So those are things that I also will consider sometimes, like where will it look best from?
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically it. Again, I would delete these then if you're leaving them suppressed.
Yeah.
Cool. Overall, nice work. Let me look at your assembly one last time to make sure I forgot to drag on pieces. Yeah, you were good.
Sweet.
Nice work.
Thanks.
All right. Up next, we have Jacob, and then if Phoebe could be on standby, it'll be your turn in 5 minutes, Phoebe. Cool. I like it. Jacob, did you have any specific questions, or did you just want general feedback?
Just general feedback. I think I might rebuild the one I send you just to make the mates a little bit easier based on the feedback I got for the forum yesterday. I think I might go ahead and do like that. You were kind of talking about doing like a square plate with the press just being the kind of angular thing on the bottom.
Yeah, square plate, round top kind of thing.
Yeah, I just, and then also just like any like CAD like master sketch if I'm doing that correctly as well.
Okay. Yeah, so the question I had from last class was you asked about your loft. So yeah, unfortunately this is not a logical loft because this could be revolved. So
okay.
So actually, go ahead.
Is it necessarily wrong for me to build it that way though, or like just because it was super easy in comparison, in my opinion, in comparison to?
So
I mean,
yeah, for your own work, I guess no, it's not bad. I mean, there's more of a chance for a loft to fail. I think if you were working somewhere or someone was reviewing your SolidWorks work or you're working with other people, they might question why you did that as a loft. It just doesn't, unless like one reason I could think that someone like that I was working with or a reason I would loft something like this would be if I anticipated the client may want it to be an oval at some point or something.
okay.
But anything like this is most people would revolve it. Or some people might actually extrude it. You can extrude something with a draft. And if you're talking about like the easiest way to do something, like you can type in an angle here, and that's if someone were just trying to like knock it out and they knew SolidWorks well, like that's probably what they would do.
Okay.
So, but yeah, for the requirements of the class, unfortunately, no, it needs to make sense. So like Xavier asked if he could do it to just like a slight oval. So you could do that. Or if you're going with a square base, you could loft a square with fillets to a round. And that's also kind of an interesting aesthetic.
Okay. If we had time at like the end of class, could you show that?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. What that would look like. Cool.
Let's see. So yeah, that's my first thing because that was a question you had last time. Yeah, definitely like just double check your mates. So if it's like sliding left and right, the handle needs to be like the right plane needs to be mated. Same with this guy's moving. I had advice to fillet before you pattern. So I think, was it these ones? Maybe you already did that.
I think I did that with those. Did I? Oh, I tried to.
No, I think you did. I don't know why I wrote that then. But anyway, I wrote fillet before pattern. Yeah, you did.
I think I definitely got a little sloppy with the fillets, which is another reason why I kind of want to dive into a new design.
Yeah. You also want to build off of a half. This one isn't built off of a half.
Right. I was wondering about that just because of the fact that it is all what was it? It's all circular.
Yeah. No, I know. Again, I fully admit that the half rule, especially in some of these contexts, like again, if I'm being honest, if this was someone, building this in industry or whatever, they probably would just do a full revolve. My reasoning again is all just for giving you all best habits. Is really.
Now for this one that I'm probably gonna go forward and build just for this final one, that's gonna be like asymmetrical. Building in half wouldn't make sense, right? Because the circle would be on one side.
If it's asymmetric, then you do not need to build it in half. Correct.
Okay. Cool.
Now, I don't know though. If it's symmetrical front to back, consider that too, right? So like if it just means an off-center circle, so don't make that mistake. And again, it's a good habit. I really want to encourage that. So it's not wasting time. Yeah. And really, in some respects, it might not seem like it, but it should make your life easier because then you don't have to do a command to one part. You don't have to like select two different things. Like, for example, if you're mirroring, like you only have to build 1 foot, right? And
which is what that was honestly kind of a pain in the ass of that was mirroring all those after.
Cool. And then my last 2 comments for you were just base a plane on the master whenever possible. I don't know if this was based on a face. Just whenever possible. Sorry.
I think that was actually okay. So that was something I wanted to ask you about the handle. I had to make a cut because it was too long. Because for some reason the master was just manipulating it like it was throwing all like the proportions off of the curves and stuff. So I cut with a plane.
Got it. That's fine. I mean, you could have cut with a regular cut, but I understand that.
Okay.
The planes I was talking about were in this file, mainly.
Oh, was that? Okay, I was wondering maybe that was the plane.
But just in general, basing planes off masters is good. Sorry, unfortunately we're out of time, but I just want to get all my feedback. This knob, this could be extruded as like this shape. I understand this is maybe getting to what Sam was talking about at the beginning of class, where you're kind of exploring the design. And again, you're not going to lose points on this. I appreciate the mirror here, but in general, actually no, I really like the mirror, so maybe leave the mirror in there. But really, you could almost sketch this exact profile and then just extrude it. Does that make sense? Like the complexity of this could probably be built in like 4 commands as opposed to these many. Not that you would lose points for this, more just for like your own information and reference. And sorry, the last feedback. I forgot to talk about this the last class, but I made a note for a couple of you in terms of like the rendering and details. One of the requirements in this like grade sheet here, you'll notice that there's like lighting, proportion, and realism, knob has indicator, one part line and one bezel. I think I noticed for yours, I don't see a bezel or a part line. I know like technically there are part lines here in this stuff, but I guess I more so meant it to be like in the handle or the knob, or
Okay.
some people had it. Like if you were to split the base, put a split in here somewhere to represent a part line, I would count that. I think the simplest thing you can do is just like revolve some kind of bezel around the mounting point of where the handle would go.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you want to put a part line like down the middle of the knob, or I realize you said this was wire, but the logical place would be like down the middle of the handle, like the demo showed.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, cool. If we have time at the end of class, I'm happy to show you that loft, or you can always email me and I can show you.
Yeah. I'll probably be on here for the whole class, so if we have time.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep. Phoebe is up now, and then after Phoebe, it's Sam. So you should be your turn in 5 minutes, Sam. Phoebe, did you want general feedback or did you want?
Just general feedback.
Okay.
I don't have any particular question.
I think in general everything was good. Yeah, everything was mated from what I recall. So I mainly looked at your part file here. What I really appreciated that you did was, and so anyone who's following along class-wise, or if you're within eyeshot of your computer, maybe look for a minute. I like Phoebe's detail of putting a mounting point for the handle, where there's this fillet here and it goes into a hole. These are things we start to do in like the next 2 projects. But I think it helps in a render. It will make it look far more realistic to look like the handle has a home where it gets mounted to. So I appreciated that detail, Phoebe. So nice work. I think I literally had one feedback for you, which is considering like your mirrors here and the order in which you have them. So I appreciated that you built it in half. So things like, so firstly, it's somewhat atypical to have 2 mirrors back to back. There's some circumstances where it might make sense, but I think you could simply select this. And I'm assuming you were maybe not wanting it to merge, but the way that the merge tool works is it will only merge bodies to itself. So because this plate is not touching itself, even though this is checked as merge, oh, maybe not?
Yes.
Okay,
That's why I made it too.
Fair. Okay. I stand corrected. Oh, I'm curious now. Okay, my mistake. Nice. So it makes sense. So sorry, let me uncheck this and check merge so I didn't break your file. Good to know that. So thank you for teaching that to me. These things, I would consider putting these ones before the mirror. So I think you can simply drag these up here. I don't know, or maybe I'm going to be wrong again.
Yeah, I added that last because I was like thinking, where should I put that? So I just built the model, like the whole body itself, and then add that. But later on, the update, I'm actually working on that for a different file, like combining the mirror.
Okay.
For that.
Wait, say that again. You're working on what for a different file? The combining of the mirror?
Combining the mirror, because I have like different mirrors that
Got it.
For the handle and like the placement of the handle, so like the circle. But I can like, if I can like put that combining into like the body itself, I only need one mirror.
Right. Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, I also totally get like adding these later. Another kind of like SOLIDWORKS habit is using the blue bar, but I also know that like sometimes it makes sense to see the whole file. Maybe you're adding it based on where the handle's located. A quick fix is basically what I just did, where you like drag it before the mirror, and then you can suppress these, or I guess this one would have to be, yeah, based on this. Anyway, it seems like that makes sense. But yeah, no, honestly, everything was good. It was solely this thing down here.
Okay.
Let's see. I don't think. Yeah, I looked at the knob. The seam was good. It was built well. Cool. Yeah. Do you have any questions in the remaining couple seconds we have?
No, maybe just like design wise. Like
yeah. No. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. Yeah, go ahead.
Just general design feedback. I like it. I think
Mhm.
your proportion's good. Maybe this is a bit wide. Sorry, the gap like this is maybe a bit wide if I'm being like super nitpicky, but it feels right. It feels real.
Okay.
I mean, I might consider that if these are plates sitting in here, when the lid opens, they might like fall out. But if you're talking about like aesthetics and proportion, I think you're good. It looks good to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Like maybe a bit tight here if I'm starting to nitpick, but I think no, you're totally fine though. I think you have good spacing.
Okay.
I also appreciated this part line in here. From this piece to this piece. That was a nice detail.
Okay.
All right, nice work, Phoebe.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So up next is Sam's turn, and after Sam, it will be Ely. So Ely, it'll be your turn in 5 minutes. Sam, did you want general feedback, or did you have a specific question to go over?
Just general feedback.
Cool. I appreciated how you built your handle. It's really cool. It's funny because like I was about to, when I was first looking at it, I was ready to be like, oh, you should have built it in half and mirrored it, but I realized that wouldn't work because it's a full twist. So nice work.
I actually chopped it in half from the other handle because I used a full handle on the other one.
Right. Yeah. Okay, yeah, these planes, as much as possible, base them off the master. Does that make sense?
Wait, what do you mean?
Base them off the master sketch if you can. I also noticed in some instances it looks like you made a plane.
I made the planes directly on top of the top, front, and right existing ones because it's easier to align them in assembly.
Got it. And that's what I assumed was your reasoning. So
to the tree, and I just clicked the plane.
Nice. So let me help you by saving you a step. And that's totally logical. That makes sense to me. If you right-click on any of these planes, so if you want to see them, you can right-click on this and just click the eyeball, and then they'll be visible.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no worries. I've never said it before. So yeah, if that's the way you like to work, I think there also may be a setting somewhere in here that just always makes planes visible. So if that's the way you like to work, I'm sure it's in here somewhere. So yeah, just be aware of that. What else? Yep. I think I wrote, okay, I think this is, I'm assuming this is to the main body now. I think all your assemblies were good. Combine fillets and mirror top and bottom. Oh, I wrote combine fillets with a question mark because I don't know if they could actually be combined. But again, when I see a lot of fillets like this, I just start to wonder if like some of them. So again, if it makes sense, like here you have a fillet on here.
Oh, there were separate bodies.
Okay, so far it does look like they're all separate bodies. Again, it may very well be the case. I didn't like totally verify, but again, just the awareness that you can combine fillets in places where it makes sense to. The other
does the bezel refer to a chamfer or a fillet?
Say that again.
In the PDF guideline you sent, it said have a bezel on each part. So I did chamfers and fillets because I didn't know which was.
I got it. No, a bezel, that's a good clarification question. I'm going to make a note of that to say at the end of class. A bezel is like what's around the knob. Yeah, for you, like, actually, technically, I would need to look at your render. No, never mind.
Because I had some, I did fillets on my chamfers too in some cases.
So a bezel is like an aesthetic flourish in a way. It's like it often hides like mounting points or covers for mounting points.
Oh, I see. I thought you were referring to fillets and.
No, I mean I like this detail. I like what you have here. Yeah, I did make a note for the bezel that for yours is like a squiggly line. Like you kind of have bezels like in a way the knob being on the handle serves as kind of a bezel. I would say if you want to get the bezel credit, I would accept it if you were willing to split this. So in your handle here, if you just draw like a line here, I noticed you use the split command in here. So if you're comfortable with that, you can split. And you click here and click here, and you want to just keep both, just check that box. And then if you put fillets on here, it'll look like a different piece. If I can select this edge.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
It's not letting me select it, but
it wouldn't align properly once you twist.
I would be willing to count this as a bezel if you're willing to do this to your design. Whoops. So then it becomes like I mean, ideally you would then render it as an accent cap. Like this might be, metallic and this might be rubber or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But I was thinking of doing something like that, but once you twist the knob, it wouldn't align anymore. So I just went with a round knob on the spiral thing.
Got it. Yeah, no, the misalignment. No. This doesn't spin with the knob. The bezel stays fixed. I realize that's totally confusing because the way that I approach the knob design and the way we have it mated, the bezel is spinning with it. But no, typically the bezels don't spin. Actually, no, it works in both cases. Sometimes they spin, sometimes they don't. I've seen it done both ways. So do it to the handle. Yeah, I agree with you. We don't want this to spin because we don't want it to be misaligned. And if you are fine with that aesthetic, I'll give you credit for that. Cool?
Okay.
All right, nice work. All right, up next we have Ely. And after Ely, it will be Andrew. So Andrew, if you're on standby, it'll be your turn in about 5 minutes. Ely, did you have a specific question or did you just want general feedback?
Well, I uploaded the one that I was most concerned with, the building aspects of it, and kind of I felt like the file was kind of messy and whatnot.
Okay.
My one question about is the assembly of the handle to the griddle, and if that, because it still moves up and down, and I thought I remember you saying that needs to not happen.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's a question for sure.
So yeah, the fix there. So you had it visually placed where you wanted it. So it's going to be this plane. I still don't have a good way to put this into words. So if this is what's moving, it's the plane that's like perpendicular to the travel. So in this case, it would be the front plane. It's perpendicular to the direction it's traveling. So I would mate the front plane to any other parallel plane in the main assembly. So in this case, the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click mate. It'll jump down. But now if we select distance, it knows the number where it moved from, and it'll just automatically put that number back in. So that's the key there, is clicking that one and then just checking that box.
Okay.
And now it's not going to move.
And then
yeah, go ahead.
One more thing. I don't have an indicator on my knob and I built the loft in halves instead of quarters because I wanted it to have more of a point. So it's already kind kind of like a pointer shape pointing in a specific direction.
Totally. No, I count this as an indicator, personally.
Okay.
Because it has a clear like arrow. For me, an indicator is more of a function, like a functional thing, I guess, than a.
Yeah.
So you're good, and yes, I understand that you built this in half. I think I didn't have any comments on the knob. I think it was good. I want to make sure that there's no seam on it. Is there a seam? Yeah, no, it's good.
Okay.
Handle, yep, handle up and down. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, just some like general things. I don't know. This is kind of nitpicky, but for me, the sweep, I think it looks better if you just like put in a tangent bend in here. So the easiest way to do that is open up this sketch. There's a sketch fillet command.
Okay.
And you can type in whatever the default value is 0.1, which it should be fine. But obviously you can play with that to whatever you want. And you simply select both lines and then just check this box. And it should rebuild. Oh no, it didn't like that. Oh, you know what? It's probably because this radius has to be bigger. Yeah, this radius has to match at least half this distance. So I don't know, maybe if aesthetically you don't want it, you can leave it out, but I think it'll look a bit more realistic if it has that in there. So 0.5 worked, 0.2 did not work. I did notice this, which is something I mentioned on Gina's. This little corner happens if in this command here, what you need to do is edit the sketch and just grab this point and just drag it down. And what's happening that creates that corner is like just the cut wasn't going all the way through. So now it gets it. I don't know if I ruined something. You may have to reconnect the fillet on that face. I guess a note to mention is if you are going to fillet this, then this cut command should also be filleted. The easiest way actually would be to, well, yeah, I guess the easiest way would be to just put in the exact same fillet here. I think it was at 0.5 is what we said. And that way it's just a little bit cleaner. The fillet in here is totally design nitpick. You're not going to gain or lose points if you don't want to do that. Sorry, unfortunately the timer went off, but I didn't. Let me just quickly go through the main body. Yeah, I think, well, a couple of things. One, I would say the main thing is this mirror, the default is to do it as a feature mirror, but it's better to do the mirror as a body. So if I load the mirror command, and we mirror about the right plane, you want to look for this option here. I hate that SolidWorks prioritizes this. You want to select the bodies to mirror and just select this. There's less things to select. It's also going to be more robust in terms of the file breaking or not breaking.
Okay.
Let's see. I made a note about, what is this? Boss Extrude 2 face. I'm not seeing Boss Extrude 2. Is that on something else? Oh, maybe it was the Extrude Cut. Okay, yeah, it's probably this one. Oh, yeah. Same comment for you. Actually, I appreciate that you did this based on a sketch, but you can totally make this sketch, like this sketch could also be on this face too. But
yeah, this was early on when I was still trying to figure out the whole program.
Got it. No worries. And actually, based on what I said earlier, like using planes is generally better and basing planes on sketches is generally better. So like that's okay too. I just wanted to make sure that you knew you can sketch on a face. And that's basically it. I mean, I made a note about like cut and fillet order. So, you know, mainly like looking at this area up here. This is something that's a little less tangible and takes time to kind of like understand, but the order in which you do things will change the design. So I think the example that I had is like, for me, my gut would be to like put these fillets after this cut. and it would be to try and get like, I feel like I kind of want this. So just thinking out loud, like something I might have explored if this were my file, is I might have tried to put these fillets in first, and maybe actually this one as well, with the goal of being to try and get a fillet to travel along this edge for like a slightly cleaner aesthetic. I don't know if it may not work. Yeah, do you see how this now travels all the way down like that? It's just a slightly cleaner blend in this corner.
Okay.
It's kind of fussy, and it's kind of one of these things that is possibly more experiential. Like you just start to get a sense of the order in which fillets will work better. But it's all like kind of in the name to avoid like this kind of like split here causing issues, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Or not causing issues, but just like aesthetically being like not ideal. You see what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Again, not something you're going to gain or lose points on, more just like education on SOLIDWORKS.
I remember that now from one of the tutorials.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, overall nice work though. I mean, yeah, I know you said you had some challenges, but this is what I wanted this project to be. Like you just kind of like, you're kind of like exploring in the dark a little bit, but you know, you ended up with something complex and for the most part, like good build order. So nice work.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, we have Andrew. And after Andrew, it is Maddie, I believe. Yep. And then after Maddie, I'll stop the video and start it again, just so it's not too massive of a video. The stuff that I'll be uploading to YouTube. Andrew, did you have a specific question, or did you just want general feedback?
Oh, just general feedback would be fine.
Okay. And I'm starting to get worried on time.
It's fourth from the bottom.
Thank you. There it is. All right. Yeah, general feedback. Oh, yeah. I don't know. Okay, so I probably should have emailed you too. I didn't see your assembly in here. I only saw part files. Not a problem for now. I mean, only a problem in that I can't check your mates. But obviously for Monday, please make sure it's a pack and go. Or I don't know if something weird happened or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. No, honestly, overall pretty good. Like that was the biggest feedback, is just make sure you have your assembly for Monday. Otherwise you'll lose points there. The only other thing I had was details before the mirror. So, I mean, I like how you built it. But you know, some of these things could possibly be like if instead of having to sketch like this whole slot shape, right? You might be able to get it so that it's, and like, can we just drag this down? No, I guess there's some issues with these fillets.
Yeah, it would have those like like some kind of section.
Got it.
If I did it. Yeah.
Yeah, for what it's worth for me, typically though, I put the mirror as low as I can. It's just like less edges to select and stuff. It's somewhat nitpicky. Again, it's all just sort of in the name of best practice. But honestly, that was my only feedback. My other feedback in general was, I guess, you know what, let me look more carefully at some of these things. My other feedback in terms of the points here is looking at yours, like you have stuff that could possibly be considered a bezel.
I might have actually sent the wrong file.
Okay. Yeah, just make sure you...
Yeah, I should...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Make sure you have a bezel. Like maybe it's like a separate piece around the corner, you know, the edge of the handle, which I'm sorry, I know might ruin your aesthetic a bit. And maybe it's just on one of these concepts, like you put just like a metal ring around where the knob would go, and then I'll give you credit for that.
Okay, sure.
But honestly, everything looked good. I like your designs. Your files looked good. Yeah, I think I just mainly looked at this one, and that was my only feedback. Do you have any other questions or comments?
Can I send you like the correct file?
Yeah,
like
go for
email
it.
you.
Yeah, we still have a minute, so
I'll do it like probably I'll email you like probably like tomorrow.
Actually, that's totally cool too. Yeah, I realized like trying to email me and me open it. Not a good idea, but yeah, no, send it to me if I see anything crazy. I'll let you know.
Okay, sure.
Cool.
Thanks.
Yep, nice work. All right. Up next we have Maddie. I'll stop the video after Maddie and start it again, but after Maddie it'll be Marissa. I need to keep an eye on time. I think we're good. I think we're okay. Let's see. No, we're not. Maddie, did you have a specific question or just general feedback?
I don't have any specific questions now.
Okay. Yeah, so you asked a question about the loft, and did that example at the start of class make sense? Just like off-centering the circle?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, if you don't want to do it to the top, you can do it as the feet, maybe.
Okay.
You can like loft a foot and put it as a added part in one of these. Let's see. So boss extrude 1, part of revolve. So I opened up this part. Yeah, pretty simple part, but that's cool. That's good. Simple is good. Kind of nitpick, but I was basically saying like my one comment was like this could be part of this revolve if you planned it from the start, but I also realized like maybe you decided to add a foot later or something. Honestly, that was really it. That's my main like, how could this be better in SOLIDWORKS? It's partly because the file is simple. You know, if you wanted to add complexity, things you could add are like a hinge or a feet, but totally not necessary. My other feedback was I liked your handle. It was one of the things I looked at first to see if it was a logical sweep, but I noticed in your sweep file, and I'm assuming this is intentional, that you added slight curvature to this, which I appreciate. That's really good. It shows like an understanding that, yeah, this couldn't just be lofted, or sorry, extruded. So I appreciate that detail. Also, for what it's worth, for anyone who's listening, but also, of course, for you, Maddie, anytime you add slight curvature like this, it's going to make your renders look better. You know, most objects, I know, I guess a lot of like electronic objects have flat surfaces, but anytime you add like just a slight crown or curvature to anything in KeyShot, it's going to catch the light a little bit more dynamically. So that's just like a good detail to add. I guess now that I'm looking at this, like maybe some feedback is I might like throw like really small fillets on here. It's just maybe a bit too sharp. Back to that curvature comment, like back to KeyShot, having even just like really small fillets on things, like even 0.01, it'll make it read better. And I guess now that I'm noticing this similar comment that I think I had for Xavier, is just make sure you check this merge solids box on your mirror. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, nice work. Do you have any specific questions or no?
No, that's it.
All right, nice job. Nice designs too. I like how your renders turned out. All right, I'm gonna stop the video and start it again. Again, this is all an attempt to make finding your stuff easier, so